My name is Susan. I'm a follower of Jesus Christ and have a daily reprieve from addiction to drugs and alcohol. I want to start out with a prayer, just to get centered. And, sometimes, for me, prayers can be really, wordy and all of that stuff. And, sometimes, right now, it's just what's exactly in my heart. I'm just going to, if you just bear with me, pray with me. Father, please let me be a conduit. Let me just say whatever it is that I'm supposed to say, that you want me to say. God, don't let me screw up. That's just really, I'm nervous. And all of this is all about you. And it's about you. And that's what it's supposed to be about. In your name, amen. My journey in addiction and my journey in my spiritual seeking kind of similar in that, well, let me just start. My mom was Catholic. I'm the last of 5 kids. By the time I came around, Mom was really tired. Dad was not participating. She was tired of lugging 5 kids around to church, getting them all dressed, doing all this stuff, taking them to church, and we were all, a bunch of rowdies. And so by the time that I was 4 or 5 years old, she was done. She was just done. And so we stopped going to church. By that age, of course, I didn't get anything out of it, other than to hear the siblings talk about, the thou shall nots, and you're not allowed to do this and that and the other and whatnot. I grew up at a period of time that my siblings are 10 years older than I am. So it was Woodstock and all of that sort of stuff. So they were down for protesting. It was rent a protest. They would protest at the drop of a hat, and they were good for that. So I was seeking. I was seeking from an early age. I remember there was a church down the street from us, Georgia Avenue Baptist Church, and they had a bus that would come to the neighborhood and pick you up and take you there and bring you back. It was called the Good News Bus, and I can even remember the guy, Captain something or another, can't remember his name, but he was always smiling. He was a really happy guy. And we'd sing on the way to church, and we'd sing on the way back, and my mom was kind of appalled that I was going to a Baptist church, being a Catholic woman, and kind of discouraged it without, I don't know, she just wasn't really encouraging of my seeking. And pretty quickly, I stopped going. I did, while I was there at Georgia Avenue Baptist Church, I did an altar call, and I talked to people, and I just, I was so young, but I was like, what is this about? And I don't understand, and this is so much. And here I am, a kid being brought in on a bus without any adults, without any guidance, without anything. How do you follow up with that? I would imagine that would be kind of difficult in those times, and I really doubt that, this made national news, but right at that same time, we had the Lions girls were picked up right off the street in my hometown right at that time, and they were sisters, and just in the last 6 months, they convicted the guy that did it. 40 years later, 40, 50 years later. So anyway, I was seeking. My household was pretty tumultuous. My siblings were pretty out of control. The oldest two sisters, the oldest brother, were pretty out of control. The brother that's closest to me in age was just this natural A student. Everything came easy. He just excelled in everything. Give him a ball, whether it was a football, basketball, baseball, whatever, he could do it. And so I very quickly was either part of the bad siblings, or I was not, or I was a good sibling, but I never measured up over here. I was always on this side. School, I didn't really attend. I didn't. Chances are I probably could have used some assistance in that area. But very early on in middle school, I started drinking. Actually, in elementary school, in 5th grade, my father passed away. And before he passed away, I was stealing his beer and his cigarettes. So I wasn't, doing it on a daily basis or anything, but I don't know many 5th graders that are social drinkers, so it wasn't a healthy kind of thing to do. Middle school, I was drinking on the way to school. Then, of course, came drugs.